Hello friends and welcome back. I'm Sarah Liz and I have another Spellbinders Club Kit sneak peek. This is for August 2024. It is the first of the month, so I like to show you what I've been making in the background and what's coming up in videos. I get 4 clubs sent to me by Spellbinders: the small die of the month, the large die of the month, the 3D embossing folder, and the stencil. I've played with most of them, but not all of them. So here's just kind of getting started. But let's begin with this one. So this card uses the 3D embossing folder of the month, and it has incredible shimmer and shine. And I was just playing. I'd never done anything quite like this before. So here's the embossing folder, and it's got this beautiful rose motif and some flowers, but I knew like roses can be a little stuffy sometimes, right? I didn't want to go stuffy. So I just painted on some regular heavyweight cardstock, like my 100-pound cardstock, and I've used some metallic watercolor and then some lunar paste to get the streaks in there. And then I have a lunar paste on this paintbrush to create that texture. It feels and looks like paint. And I absolutely love this one. The stitching die of the month has a paintbrush in it, and you absolutely could use that one if you get the deluxe caboodle, which is where you get like all the kits and it's 60% off and it's an awesome value. But I had to go into my stash and try to find something that would work. So I grabbed this die set. It's pretty old. And it's just a paintbrush, right? That's it. He's on sale for half off right now. He's $7.50. I'm going to link to this and then a couple other things that are on sale in their super sale right now. I don't know how long that sale lasts. I'll try to look it up and put it in the description box for you, but definitely worth checking out. And then we have a sentiment here that comes from our free printable. Yes, there is a printable that coordinates with these kits. It has a theme of art and color and flowers. In order to change a color, it is enough to change a background. And I just love the metaphor of that. The quote is from a chemist, but really here, I love thinking about how that applies to people as well. So that's card number 1. Card number 2 is also using the 3D embossing folder of the month, and I use the blackout technique here, but instead of coloring in the cardstock with ink or markers, I've used metallic paint, and then I sort of splattered over the top as well. This one also brings in the small and large die of the month, and I am so excited. So the small die of the month has a ton of sentiments. This is it. It is just sentiments. And they have shadow dies. Most of these cut out as a single piece. Like the dots on the eyes are separate, but mostly you don't have to fiddle with that. So when I went to make our kit, I included all of our standard sentiments, right? The circles and the rectangles and the strip sentiments, also in black this time. But I also made a bunch of sub-sentiments that go specifically with what's in this kit. A lot of them are very generic. If you don't get this kit, you probably have something already that will work. So we'll go through the entire kit together on the 2nd, tomorrow, Friday, August 2nd. It's the first Friday of the month, which is when I release my kits. We'll make a couple cards on Friday using supplies other than the club kits, just so I can show you how they stretch. But then on the 6th, when the clubs release for new subscriptions, I will make, I think, 3 of these cards in a video for you, and I'll link the kit there as well. So no kit today, but it's coming up soon. That's right, my friends, there will be a free printable kit that comes out for these clubs. If you are interested in that free download, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified as soon as it becomes available. In the background of this one, I've used the large die of the month, and it's got this great shimmer. I got a new ink and I'm totally in love with it. It's the black shimmer ink from Delicata. So same cardstock, just shimmer on some of it. This is the large die. It's so pretty. It is so, so pretty, and it makes these big, huge blooms. And they're pretty easy to put together. So I will show you in videos how to make these blooms, but a lot of them come together very simply. So on this one, I just added the thanks from the small die, and then you are amazing. This card uses the large die of the month as well and brings in some more of those blooms. And honestly, this guy This giant leaf that's in here is so versatile. I love, love, love him. I made a 5x7 card. I just cut an inch off the side so I could let some pieces overhang here. Then the small die of the month, Thinking of You, is in here, and Dumpster Fires Don't Burn Forever from our printable kit. In the background, I think technically I could put this in the club remix video. If you're new here, in the middle of the month, I come out with a club remix kit using the current clubs and pulling some older ones that we already have in our stash that haven't been getting a lot of use. So I love this embossing folder. I think it's super versatile, but you could use any embossing folder there. All right, my friends, and here's a little sneak peek at our club remix card. If you're new here, in the middle of the month, I always come out with a club remix where I mix and match current clubs with older clubs. The goal is just to pull out things from our stash that have been maybe getting a little dusty, not getting a lot of use. And so I have used the large die of the month for the blooms, the small die of the month for the Miss You. I'll show you in the video how I did some partial die cutting to combine those. Then I pulled in the honeybee jar for my frame here. There are two pieces. It will cut that frame for you. It's pretty thin. I decided to use just cardstock stacked up, but you could probably fit 1/4 inch foam tape if you're really careful. If you don't have this one, you could instead use the pins and needles jar that came out in April. It's got this big old jar in here, and it came out in the sewing themed month. But here I've turned it into a lemonade jar, and it's got cut lines kind of right around the edges. It does not cut a frame. But in this video, which was like a club remix video before I was calling it that, I used those cut lines to create a stencil for my lemonade. You could use that same technique and turn it into a shaker and do something like this. But what I love most about this card is that this top comes off and these shaker pieces come out. So you can write little messages on the back as an added set of sentiments for whoever you're going to give this to. Okay, so like all of them will come right out. I'll show you how I assembled these so that they're nice and sturdy, so that we have both the greenery and the bloom, which was really important to me. And then I will show you my trick. This guy, kind of like the message in a bottle card, I just went for it, and I'll be honest, I screwed up a couple of times and had to take things apart, but I had built in an oops for myself, and I will share that tip in the club remix video. I love this jar. You could make this thicker and put candy in it, like actual candy. Okay, it's just stacked up cardstock. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. Because we're talking Spellbinders clubs, I have to point out that some of their clubs are on super sale right now. This is the blooming pomegranate. This is how it's supposed to be arranged. Here's how I remixed it to get more looks from it. It's $5. It's $5, you guys. And this was my surprise of the year. I was like, I don't know about pomegranates. I don't know that I'll use that. These are favorites of mine. Like, I have not been able to give these away yet. I love them so much. So $5 for the blooming pomegranates. I'll link all of the things on sale below that we're talking about. And then all of these are $10. $10. That is typically like as good as it gets, unless you're catching a warehouse sale. Like there's one at $5, but this is a pretty good batch. Okay, so let's start with this one. It's the wine glasses, and then there's also a champagne glass and a wine bottle in that set. It's called Cheers to Us. It's a large die of the month, $10. I will link to these videos. It's two separate videos. Then this one is the Towering Blooms. If you like all of those, I think it's the Be Fresh Florals or something like that. There's a bunch of dies like this that are meant to take up exactly a card front. $10. And I just was surprised at how much I like this one too. This one uses the Christmas Boutique, and I will say it comes with holiday florals. I substituted my favorite florals of that size, which is the Envelope of Wonder. It's got this little like pop-up fence. I have used this fence a bunch of times, especially in club remix videos. I just think it's a lot of fun. And then the cupcake. I've been talking about it and talking about it. It is the Boolicious Fall Cupcake. This is it. This is it. $10 for everything I've shown you so far. 10 bucks. So this card I made when it first came out, but I keep coming back to that one. Here, I've also added this Santa hat. There was an add-on die set that came out when the cupcakes first did, and then it disappeared for a very long time. Well, it's back and it's half price. So I will link to that one below. It just has other pieces you can stick in the cupcake to make it a cupcake for all seasons. But honestly, you probably don't need the add-on unless you think those pieces are particularly cute. Just use whatever you have, like this, put them on the cupcake. Okay, so here the cupcake is from that set, but then these are from other die sets that are part of the Club Kit series. So Boolicious Fall Cupcake. This is the Say Cheese die set. It is $15. Honestly, if you'll wait for the warehouse sale in a couple of months, it might get cheaper. Sometimes we've seen this one at $5. He's been around a long time, and there's a bunch more florals and then a big flash that goes on top if you want to make a 5x7 card. When it comes to the other kits this month, there's a definite art theme running through it. So the Better Press of the month has these colorful, bold splatters. That's what it's called. And it's really cool, and you can layer them on top of each other. If you get the deluxe caboodle, it looks like there's dies that come with that. And I think there's some sentiments in there as well. Then the Glimmer of the month is called Colorful Splash, and it is exactly that. A big colorful splash that you can hot foil onto your projects. I want to show you the stitching die of the month. It's called the Stitched Colorful Palette. And this is the one where I was saying there's a paintbrush in here. In the photos, it shows everything stitched, but I'm always looking at this die set to see, could I use it if I didn't want to stitch it? And you can see the palette here does not require stitching, and you can do the little paint piece without the stitching if you choose. When we start looking at the paintbrush, I think you could assemble this and really cover up all of that stitching, okay? So here's that bottom piece, and it can cover up those stitching holes. Skip the stitching here. The top piece you can cut with or without the stitching holes and cover that up. You could just cut another piece of that top instead of using this separate die to make your paintbrush, or you could leave it the original layer. Like, I think you could put this whole thing together without stitching. And I like this palette. I think you could do all kinds of fun stuff with this, maybe to make it interactive. I think there's a separate die here to cut out another piece so you can make this sort of inset tray for the paintbrush. I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I'm thinking about that one for sure. I also get the stencil of the month, and I haven't had time to play with it yet. I think what I'm gonna do is stencil the greenery in gold and silver. I haven't decided if I'll use metallic inks or if I'm going to heat emboss that, maybe some of both. And then I can really play with different colors and textures in the florals, and maybe some lunar paste, some extra shine. This is huge. It'll fill your entire A2 card front. I'm excited to play with this one coming up. Once again, my friends, if you're looking at these clubs and half or more of them seem appealing to you, you're thinking about buying them, get the deluxe caboodle. It is 60% off. And so then you'll get all the kits for what you would have paid for like half. If you're interested in the free printable that goes along with these clubs, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified when that kit becomes available. I will see you back here on the 6th for a tutorial using a handful of these clubs, and then again in the middle of the month for our club remix. I'm so excited about that one. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.